in between the videos where I'm commentating on certain things, I'll take some extra time to share the nature that I'm experiencing with you. Now, this is following some snow and rain, but mostly snow. And I can see different trees are in various levels of compost going back into the earth. You can see the greenery here as well. This isn't a desert. This is a forest here in southern Colorado. And we can see how this combination of sun and moisture work together along with other elements. The soil is very, very fertile. One of the things that I want to mention in this video is the importance of harvesting rainwater, especially if you're in an area where the air is cleaner. The negative effects of geoengineering are far more minimal here than other places. This is one of the few places that I've ever visited where I've seen the skies express a true natural aspect, a more real sky, real clouds, greater access to sun. Now, other areas in Colorado, for example, San Luis Valley, you get more sun, but you have more geoengineering. This is a different altitude. It's a different area. Walk over here a little bit. So some people say, well, harvesting rainwater is illegal, even in the state of Colorado. Not everyone agrees that that is the case. Although some people are misinformed. I talked with a realtor here in the local area that said that that is not the case. At minimal, what we know is, at the very least, that's not something that the state's running around enforcing. And even though you have some counties to where you have trespassing on private property to catch people in the act, for the most part, a lot of these rural areas, people literally are living off the grid. And outside of the matrix, if you will, of heavy-handed land use regulation. There is land use regulation. There is reasonable land use regulation in this county that will remain unnamed for the protection. That's right. For the protection of those that have worked hard to live in this area, that have come here from other places. Now, some of them don't even know that there is a war on off-the-grid living. And it's scary for them to even think about the idea of being kicked off their land. But as we all know by now, it is happening in certain places. But, as we look over here at this beautiful ecosystem, we can see this powerful, primal, natural combination of elements. Water, earth, sunlight. I mean, I've seen greenery in Oregon. I've seen moss in Oregon. But, of course, this is spring now. This is May 2nd, 2016. And we've had several cycles of snow. It wasn't just one falling in the last few days. It was several. And so things are really going to be growing. These are really going to be growing. I'm not sure what they're called, but whenever I went out to the forest in Oregon, for example, Estacada, before I left Oregon the first time in 2011, I spent some time in a furnished cabin with power, but without internet. In Estacada, over by the Eagle Creek Fish Hatchery. For anyone that knows where that is, right off of Rainbow Road. Never mentioned that before, but now that I'm no longer there, I will mention that. And so, I've gotten a good feel for what the Oregon forests feel like. And to be honest with you, there is some sort of kind of a spooky aspect to nature. The forests aren't all about just high vibes. There's actually a lot of things, a lot of spiritual forms of life that I think exist in some of these forests. Some of it also has to do with the history of man. And by the way, I downloaded a video about Lord of the Rings where they're discussing some of the deeper meanings and ideas found in both the book and the movie, and that includes tree spirits. Tree spirits that can be perceived as both positive and negative. Those working on behalf of mankind and those working on behalf of Sauron. Yeah, as it is in this world, in this matrix, even though this isn't Middle Earth, which is really old Europe, a particular part of England, where the Shire was in Lord of the Rings, that was all based really on an earlier period of time. We're also at a period in time that we live in now, where we've seen the forces of good rise against the forces of darkness. One rides with nature, and the other seeks to dominate nature, and redirect it, and recode it. And of course, I believe these are the aspen trees, which can be medicinal. Take a knife. Of course, it's important to do it with care. But aspirin medicine can be found within these trees. Let me know your comments down below if you were to experiment with a whole guerrilla garden, forest garden type of a situation. What would be the top things that you would plant? Of course, it's always good to strategize and plant the things that are going to grow well in your area. See, we're walking over here to where there is still some snow left. And this is a part of Colorado where it'll be snowing and you can feel the sunshine at the same time. That's all for now. It's May 2nd, 2016. What comes to mind is the story of the Buddha meeting Maya, the god of illusion. Legend has it, the Buddha, before attaining enlightenment, was basically, he became a targeted individual. All these threats and images of armies marching, firing off arrows that had been lit at the end. There's also the movie Little Buddha, starring Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves plays the Buddha. And as the Buddha gazed into the water, he saw himself, but it was not himself. It was Maya disguised as him. And so the Buddha went through level after level after level of awakening to the truth, seeing behind the spells Maya was casting. And there were many times in which it seemed that he had already won. In the movie Little Buddha, again, when it came in the form of himself, it was towards the end, and it was giving the Buddha much praise. To then trap it. Once it had defeated, you could even call it the Archon, Maya the Archon, the deception came in the form of, oh, you got you. Oh, you are the one. And that actually happens to a fair amount of human beings today. They become consumed to a certain degree with ego and their status. They've overcome certain things in the world, certain external factors, but they're still a slave to their own ego, thinking that they know it all. And that is the way many people are pulled into this world. You overcome certain obstacles, but then they're entrapped by themselves. Just like certain people have sold out, maybe not to a certain corporation or certain groups, but they've certainly sold out to their own ego, to their own greed. And so taking a lesson from Little Buddha, the film, depicting the story of Siddhartha, also known as the Buddha. The Buddha faced many tests on his path. And I think the same could be said about many of us in our lives. This is a pretty intense view over here, so I want to document it for you all. Cliff here, and the trees that are growing alongside the cliff on top of a roaring river down below. I'm giving a lot of thought as to where I go from here. And after May of 2016, which will be at the end of this month. I've definitely had a lot of experiences in this particular region of North America since returning to Costilla County, and you can even say since returning to Colorado. And I've been trying to settle. I've been trying to get land. I've been trying to get financing. At the end of the day, I say, thy will, not mine, be done. Please grant me what I think I want, but in the end, things happen for a reason. In the end, things happen for a reason. I just want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to feel love again. Sometime, someplace, somewhere with someone. I want to feel energized. That means going to a different state, another national park, to where I can feel this same sun beaming down upon me from another location, perhaps where that sun is bearing down on me far more intense than it is now. You know what? There's definitely a reason why I'm thinking about it. Here I am in a state, Colorado, that's becoming more and more populated with people that many of them have moved here for the marijuana. And many have moved here for the off-the-grid lifestyle. And the many couples that come before me or come alongside me with far more than I have, many of them have found a way to settle and live in peace. Well, despite my best efforts, I'm a nomad, for better or for worse. Despite my years of activism, and now the experience knowing I just can't ask for help from random strangers and just be driving cross country or across America to visit people that I don't know. I'm on my own in this mess, in this life, in this matrix. And that's how it's designed to be. And until the universe gives me something or shows me something. Until that comes, and yes, I have been aided, I have been assisted, and it's been in an interesting number of ways, but I've been assisted on my travels, and I believe I'm meant to find peace in my travels. And yet I still seek to, even temporarily where possible, hang my hat up, rest, find a sense of security where I don't have to spend what money I have on gas. It's nice to be able to travel around. I also would like to keep the money that comes to me so I can apply it towards something that will provide me that greater security, like land, like a place. So yeah, this is a very interesting time to be alive. I'm going to leave it at that. It is May 3rd, 2016. Most people are more concerned with when they're going to die or how they're going to die than how they're living, whether they're living the right way. And that includes our relationship with nature. Many people are out of alignment with what is actually important. Wow. That is an ecosystem right there. One of the things that's come to mind is prayer to God. And one thing that does come to mind in my case is a prayer that goes as follows. I ask for your direction, I ask for your instruction, and I ask for your protection. So what comes to mind is a three-pronged prayer discussed more in depth. I ask for the protection from my enemies and those that wish to do me harm. I also ask for some assistance in my own life with some of my goals, but ultimately in the end, thy will, not mine, be done. And I've been doing a lot of the thy will, not mine, be done mantra in the last 24 hours with regards to a particular goal of mine, because I realize if it doesn't happen, it's not meant to happen. But I have put out the intention that it's something that I would like. But I've also been putting out a lot of intentions: protect me from evil, protect me from that which would like to silence me. And ultimately, I pray for the insight to know what is the right path for me. And I don't want to sound religious here, but ultimately to carry out God's will for myself in my own life, to stay in line with that of the Creator. And that's what I want to share along these lines regarding prayer.